or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Michelle. For the next hour, I will be reading from the August 9th issue of the Sunday Gusto. Cover story: There's no better time for Ted Lasso. Season 4 of the feel-good soccer sitcom starts strong, then slips a bit. By Alan Pergamon. With the world in chaos and World Cup fever still a recent memory, it's hard to believe there's a better time for the unrelenting optimism of Ted Lasso to return to Apple TV+. If you didn't believe after the third season finale of Ted Lasso in May of 2023 that there would be a fourth season, then you missed some huge clues. Viewers would be wise to rewatch that finale, in which ripped apart pieces of the Believe poster in the locker room were reassembled, to see the clues before they watch the first episode of Season 4, which premiered on Wednesday. In a last-ditch effort to convince Ted, played by Jason Sudeikis, not to return to Kansas City to help raise his son, Henry, with his ex-wife Michelle, played by Andrea Anders, AFC Richmond team owner Rebecca Welton, played by Hannah Waddington, sat in the stands at a soccer stadium in London 3 years ago to have a conversation with him. "I just want you to consider the possibility this is your home," said Rebecca. "Henry could live here and go to one of the best schools in the world and enjoy the life-changing experience of being in another country. Michelle can come here and teach and become fully qualified to go home, a department head." Near the end of the finale, marketing expert Keely Jones, played by Juno Temple, plopped a modest proposal on Rebecca's desk to start an AFC Richmond women's team. Those two scenes served as a blueprint for the return of the series, with a scaled-down cast that primarily focuses on Ted, Keely, Rebecca, head of football operations Leslie Higgins, played by Jeremy Swift, media unfriendly coach Roy Kent, played by Brent Goldstein, and assistant coach Beard, played by Brendan Hunt. The winning opener, titled Home, is what is referred to as a premise pilot. It spends the episode explaining how Ted, with the blessings of Michelle and Henry, are persuaded to move to London after a visit to Kansas City from Rebecca, Keely, and Leslie. Rebecca practically repeats the line in the third season finale word for word. "Sometimes home is a state of mind," she tells Ted. The three visitors try to sell the idea to return to London, but an appeal by Ted's mother, played by Becky Ann Baker, has a greater impact. Although meeting the characters was more interesting in 2020, when the series about an American football coach brought it in to coach a British soccer team premiered, and the new premise seems a little forced, the rediscovery of Team Lasso is sweet, beautifully written, even poignant. It also has a terrific ending with the best use of texting I've seen in recent memory. It also couldn't make the Chamber of Commerce of Kansas City, in both Missouri and Kansas, any happier, as it champions the barbecue the area is known for, as well as the area's hospitality and sports heroes. "I couldn't last a week here," says Rebecca. "Everyone is too nice." There are nods to Kansas University basketball star Danny Manning, Royals baseball star George Brett, and pitching great Satchel Paige, who even deserves a writing credit for delivering one of the best lines in the opener, played by Patrick McCombs, and Travis Kelce aren't mentioned, though Kelce's wife, Taylor Swift, is. The opener also has the pop culture references the series is known for, with the Beastie Boys, Public Enemy, Susan Boyle, Harry Potter, Beyonce's mother, and the movies Casablanca and Do the Right Thing among them. Apple TV Plus premieres only one episode weekly and made only 5 of the 10 episode season available to be previewed. While the premiere is almost perfectly executed, the succeeding episodes aren't quite as successful. They spend a considerable amount of time showcasing the newest member of the cast, Tanya Reynolds, as Ted's rude, humorless, but highly qualified assistant coach, Alice Clinton. Alice doesn't understand why Ted wants to know the stories behind the players to understand them better. Getting a smile out of Alice is about as hard as it is for President Trump to get one out of that CNN's Caitlin Collins. Who says you can't go home again? Says Ted, watching practice. I don't like riddles, replies Alice dryly. Alice is upset at being passed over for the head coaching job of the team, but you just know Ted is going to win her over. Alice's displeasure about being passed over in favor of a man causes Rebecca to do some soul searching about feminism and her treatment of women. She has the support of Keeley. The sister act between the two female characters is one of the show's strengths. Several of the opening episodes are written by women, with the scripts smartly addressing the inequalities women athletes deal with in locker room facilities and in ownership support. A subplot concerns fears that creating a women's team can have a negative impact on the finance of a men's team. There is room for some minor criticisms. The series practically demands viewers use closed captioning, especially when Kelsey talks. The will they or won't they relationship between Keeley and Roy Kent is getting a little tiresome. It also would have been wise to cut down on the number of bathroom jokes associated with Kansas City barbecue. One-liners about Jeffrey Epstein, accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, and Hitler's wife, Eva Braun, seem oddly out of place. Of course, Ted Lasso must deal with the great expectation that come from trying to recreate the magic of its inaugural season. Many television critics sounded off negatively on its third season. I thought the season had some shaky early moments, but it was back on its game in the last several episodes and had a satisfying ending. The Emmy voters apparently agreed. Lasso received 21 nominations in its third season, but it didn't earn one significant victory in the Emmy year of the hot comedy that season, The Bear. Whether the second version of Ted Lasso gets much Emmy love will likely depend on the development of the stories behind the female players. You can see the potential of several characters in the first 5 episodes, especially for a mother on the team. A soccer star taking law school classes while playing in the goalie, who is described as crazy, as are many others who play that position. Call me crazy, but I am as optimistic as Ted Lasso that this reinvention will score with the audiences who believe returning home to Apple TV Plus comes just at the right time. Movies. New for August. 6 movies playing in theaters this month by Carolyn Darney. July was a quieter month in terms of frequency of big releases in the theater, but it came with 2 huge punches in the form of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and Destin Daniel Cretton's Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Both are setting records, with The Odyssey becoming Nolan's biggest weekend opener ever, and Brand New Day beating out Avengers Endgame as the biggest opening weekend of all time. Summer may be winding down, but don't worry, we aren't done with box office fun yet. This month features a novel plot for a rom-com, a prehistoric thriller with Anne Hathaway, a movie that was saved from being shelved forever, and more. Here are the movies to look forward to in August. One Night Only. What if there was just one night a year when singles could do what they want? This will Gluck, Anyone But You, Easy A rom-com asks that wild hypothetical and stars Monica Barbaro from Top Gun Maverick and Cullen Turner from Eternity. Premieres August 7th. Super Troopers 3. The most dysfunctional group of highway patrolmen are back, It has been 8 years since Super Troopers 2, but Jay Chandiskar, Brian Cox, Kevin Heffernan, Nate Faxon, Eric Stolensek, Paul Stoker, and more are back for the newest shenanigans. Premieres August 7th. The End of Oak Street. This sci-fi thriller asks, what if your street ended up in prehistoric times filled with dangerous dinosaurs? Starring Anne Hathaway and Evan McGregor. This one is packed with action and adventure. Premieres August 14th. Mutiny. Jason Stratham beats people up on a boat. What else do you need? Premieres August 21st. Insidious, Out of the Further. The Insidious franchise is back for its 6th installment. Lynn Shay and Sam Spruill lead the cast for this haunting sequel. Premieres August 21st. Coyote vs. Acme. After a lot of drama over whether this film would ever be released, Coyote vs. Acme is hitting the big screen. Will Forte and John Cena star in this live-action animated combination and allows the Coyote his day in court. Premieres August 28th. Kingdom Bound 2026. Pictures. Photos by Harry Skull. The 39th annual Kingdom Bound Christian Music Festival took place at Six Flags Darien Lake July 27th to the 29th. The 3-day celebration features more than 50 artists across 4 stages, daily worship sessions, and Christian speakers. This year's headliners were Kane for King Plus Country and Ben Fuller. Pictures of the Texas brothers Jeremy and Cody Reeves perform as band Reeves perform their blend of country and rock. Pictures, hands are raised high in worship during Leanna Crawford's set. Picture, singer-writer Leanne Crawford reaches out to a fan on day 2 of Kingdom Bound. Picture, Ben Fuller, one of Kingdom Bound's headliners, performs with passion on July 28th. And picture, Florida-born singer Joshua Queen performs July 28th. Things to do. Erie County Fair, Valkyrie Film Fest, 80s Rock by Tony Roberto. If you impatiently will wait every year for the Erie County Fair, chances are you just need the opening date and you are good to go. You already know what you'll be do based on traditions you've built over the years. So here are the main details. The 186th Erie County Fair returns Wednesday at the Hamburg Fairgrounds, McKinley Parkway, Hamburg, and runs through August 23rd. Gates and building hours are 11 to 10 daily. The midways open noon to 11 daily. Bring 4 or more canned food donations on Wednesday for free admission. There are others who will have questions. Here are the Swifty Swine pig races returning for starters. Yes, and with daily shows. Will there be a new food? Of course, it's the fair. As what's happening at the grandstand? Plenty. Here is more on that. Ticketed grandstand shows. Buy a ticket and get free day of fair admission. The Happy Together Tour at 7:30 Friday. Joe Nichols, Phil Vassar, and Mark Wills at 6 p.m. Saturday. Max McNown with Waylon Wyatt at 7:30 next Sunday. Blues Traveler, Gin Blossoms, and Spin Doctors at 6 p.m. August 18th. Jeff Foxworthy at 7:30 August 19th. Monster Truck Smash at 7:30 August 21st. Ultimate Night of Destruction 7:30 August 22nd. And Demolition Derby at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock August 23rd. The following grandstand events are free with paid fair admission. All start at 7:30 p.m. Marshall Charloff and Purple Experience on Wednesday, the Marshall Tucker Band on Thursday, that Arena Rock Show on August 17th, and Gary Lewis and the Playboys on August 20th. To see the packed daily schedule, learn more about new food and how to get tickets, visit ecfair.org. Korea International Film Festival continues through Tuesday at Howell's Contemporary Arts Center, Delaware Avenue. The founders of Buffalo's Valkyrie International Film Festival don't just use the phrase, "the future is female," as a motto for their event. They work every year to prove it through their programming. Mother and daughter Tamar Lamberson and Kaylin Marie Lamberson watch hundreds of films directed by women, this year choosing more than 60 features, shorts, and documentaries for their 4th annual festival. They include 25 movies made in Western New York, and many of those will have their world premieres, including the lesbian-themed rom-com Cosmos, directed by Gabrielle Nunzio, and Marissa Graves, the documentary My Long COVID Story by Sabrina Pina Young, and Babysitting the Demons on Maple Street, a horror film by Amanda R. Woomer. Visit Valkyrie Film Fest for the full schedule and tickets. Screening on the Silos with Conan the Barbarian, 8 p.m. Monday at the Dundee Silo City. To kick off the 20th anniversary celebration of the Buffalo International Film Festival, BIFF, the nonprofit organization is hosting this free screening on the Silos. What does BIFF, you might wonder, have to do with Conan, the 1982 sword and sorcery epic that launched the Hollywood career of bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger? BIFF founder Edward Summer was a big fan of Robert Howard's original pulp fantasy stories and thought they would make a great film series. He pitched the idea to producer Edward Pressman and even wrote a story. Summer's efforts eventually led to the film being directed by John Milius, with Milius and Oliver Stone getting co-writing credits. Pressman is credited as the film's associate producer. Seating's first come, first served. Rain date is 8 p.m. Saturday. The Film Fest is October 8th through the 15th. See buffalofilm.org. Howard Jones, Things Can Only Get Better tour, 6 p.m. Wednesday at the Art Park Amphitheater, Lewiston. Here's a treat for fans of the 1980s and 90s. Brit pop rock. For this tour, named after one of his most popular songs, Jones will perform a full set while bringing along friends Wang Chung from Everybody Have Fun Tonight, The English Beat from Mirror in the Bathroom, and Modern English, I Melt With You. Love this era of music? There's more. Billy Idol and Devo perform at 7:30 Friday at Darien Lake. Brian Adams, the headlines a show with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo at 7:30 Friday at KeyBank Center. Violent Femmes and the Psychedelic Furs play at 6:30 Friday, Terminal B at the Outer Harbor. Weekend reminder, Dinosaur Adventure continues from 9 to 7 today, Sunday, at the Buffalo Convention Center, Franklin Street. Lewiston Art Festival continues today, Sunday, from 10 to 5 along Center Street in Lewiston. Quick calendar, Terminal B movie nights are free on Tuesdays through August. Starts shortly after 6 p.m. Back to the Future this Tuesday. Space Jam on August 18th. Top Gun on August 25th. Food trucks, no outside food and beverages. Tyler Childers with Evan Honer, 7:30 Thursday at Darien Lake Amphitheater, Darien. Craig Robinson, Thursday through Sunday at the Buffalo Helium Club, 30 Mississippi Street. Comedian performs at 7:30 Thursday, 7 and 9:15 Friday, 7 and 9:30 Saturday, and 7 p.m. Sunday. Music Matters from the Garage Doors plays The Music of the Doors, 7 p.m. Thursday at Sully's Harbor Walk, Erie Street. Stargazing at Penn-Dixie Fossil Park, 8 to 10 Saturday at the Penn-Dixie, Lakeshore Road, Blaisdell. Rain date is August 22nd with the Buffalo Astronomical Association. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 9th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. West Herd Riviera Theater just announced Jim Belushi and the Board of Comedy, January 9th. A tribute to Dio and Whitesnake, March 19th. Tickets on sale now for Bruce Hornsby and the Noisemakers, August 11th. E.T. Free Family Film, August 12th. Barry Manilow, August 14th. DSL Dire Straits Legacy World Tour, August 15th. Sinatra and Streisand, August 21st. Rosio and Company, August 22nd. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Free Family Film, August 26th. Queen Nation, August 28th, 29th, and 30th. Pop 2000, September 2nd. Adele with Jennifer Celia, September 19th. Television. Sheridan's Landman is a gas that's worthy of a binge. I'm a huge fan of the series by Taylor Sheridan, and I don't blame him for being unhappy with critics. The prolific creator of the Paramount series Yellowstone, The Madison, and Landman, who also is the executive producer of Dutton Ranch and Marshalls, created a stir in a recent interview on the Bill Simmons podcast by bashing critics and network executives, some things to rage bait them a bit. The timing of the interview made it even more provocative. He said he doesn't care what his critics think, and added he's the week before the Emmy nominations were announced. The Paramount Plus series Landman was ignored again. Not that Sheridan cared. You're not going to win no Emmys with me, but I'm not trying to win Emmys, he said. That's not my goal. My goal is to sit somebody on the couch and move them, make them think, make them laugh, scare the blink out of them, excite them. That's what I want to do, because that's what I want from a show. The recent finale of Dutton Ranch, the Yellowstone sequel, headlined by Cole Hauser as Rip Wheeler and Kelly Riley as his wife Beth, did all of that. But Landman is my favorite Sheridan series. Due to the war in the Middle East, the importance of oil to the worldwide economy is dominating the news, which makes it a perfect time to binge Landman if you haven't already. It stars Billy Bob Thornton in a role of lifetime as Tommy Norris, the problem solver for a billionaire played by John Hamm, who runs an oil company in Midland, Texas. Thornton deserved an Emmy nomination. I was late to the party, and what a party it is. You know how the FX series The Bear is considered a comedy, even though it plays more like a drama. Landman is considered a drama and often plays more like a comedy. I laughed more watching the 20 episodes over 2 seasons that ended in January than I have laughed watching Shrinking and Hacks, two of my favorite comedies. That's largely because the performances of Ali Larter as Angela, the sexy, fun-loving ex-wife of Norris, Michelle Randolph as his Lolita-like teenage daughter, Ansley, and Colm Feore as the by-the-book lawyer, Nathan, who's exasperated living in the house with the outrageousness of Angela and Ansley. As is the case with other Sheridan series, there also are loyal secondary characters who actually look like they could work in the near oil fields. Notably, James Jordan plays Dale, who Tommy trusts like a brother, or Mark Cowley as the county sheriff beholden to Tommy. Tommy starts re-romancing his ex-wife against his better judgment and deals with her spending habits, along with her habit of getting into all sorts of trouble, mostly good trouble. When Angela calls Tommy's cell phone, it rings in horror. Thornton's deadpan asides to himself about Angela's behavior are often laugh-out-loud funny. So are the adventures of Angela and Ansley with nursing home residents who Angela decides still have life to live before they die. Angela also is big on family dinners that have a theme, but these aren't the warm Friday night dinners of Blue Bloods or Boston Blue. The dinners often have catastrophic endings that require Tommy to negotiate a ceasefire with his ex-wife. Of course, the business problems Tommy must deal with are anything but funny. In the opening scene of the series, Tommy has a knapsack over his head and is being beaten by a drug kingpin who isn't happy about losing a shipment of drugs because of an accident on a strip of land owned by the oil company. The early violence could be a turnoff for many viewers, and there's more to come. But the humor and storylines with heart more than compensate for it over 20 episodes. Tommy's son Cooper, played by Jacob Laughlin, is a warm-hearted guy learning the oil business from the ground up. His first day on the job is the last day for members of his crew. That leads to a complicated relationship with a beautiful widow, Arian, played by Pauline Chavez, with an infant son that plays out over the next 2 seasons. In season 2, there's a relationship between Ansley and her first college roommate, who is binary and has a pet ferret, that lands in a surprisingly sweet direction. And did I mention that Demi Moore also is in the series as Carmy Miller, the wife of Ham's character Monty Miller? Moore really isn't worth mentioning for the first 10 episodes, when the big question is, why is she even in the series? That isn't apparent until the 2nd season. Sheridan explained his reasons in the Simmons podcast. Ham also doesn't have much to do either. The drama picks up when a terrific Andy Garcia arrives in the first season finale as Galeno, a cartel boss who masquerades as an investor, and the devil who Tommy must deal with to save Monty's company and his own life. Sam Elliott also arrives in season 2 as Tommy's defeated dad, TL. He's wasting away in a nursing home before Angela plays family therapist. Tommy also hires a stripper, Cheyenne, played by Francesca Zerebe, to provide physical therapy for his father. That's another example of Tommy being a problem solver. The family dynamics more than compensate for all the confusing talk about how risky and dangerous the oil business can be. I couldn't follow most of it, but Thornton's way of explaining things to the company's stiff, brilliant lawyer, Rebecca, played by Kayla Wallace, made it very entertaining even when it wasn't understandable. Tommy also has some Jerry Seinfeld in him. His observations about life in general have a stand-up quality. One of my favorite moments came when Tommy is told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Tommy explains in his colorful way that claim is the self-serving product of the message being sent by companies that sell breakfast food. I can't wait for Tommy to share more of that wisdom over more family dinners when season 3 arrives early in 2027. With any luck, gas prices will be at a more reasonable level by then. Books. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 9th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News and the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Dark romance. Genre featuring wild plots and morally gray heroes is winning fans by Claire Mulroy. Dying for stories with high stakes and deep passion? Enter dark romance, where vigilantes, mafia bosses, and stalkers go hand in hand with happily ever after. Romance is among the few genres growing in sales, and readers are increasingly shifting away from rom-coms toward romances with darker themes, according to Suranka BookScan. Despite Mems pointing out that these love interests are people fans would pepper spray in real life, many readers say dark romance is misunderstood. So what is it about morally gray men that has been swooning? What is dark romance? Like the broader romance genre, dark romance guarantees a happily ever after, but it's a messier journey. There's a heavier kind of backstory that tends to happen for a lot of the characters, says Breen Weaver, author of Butcher and Blackbird, a dark rom-com. There's a bit of murder and mayhem and chaos. It might be a toxic relationship. There might be a childhood story of trauma. It's just got these heavier adult content themes for the characters to explore. Dark romance deals in taboo, whether that be power dynamics between lovers or danger lurking beyond a relationship. Serial killers and stalkers find love, sometimes with their targets. Popular tropes include forced proximity, alpha males, and enemies to lovers. It really increases the tension and stakes, Weaver says. Dark romances often blend genres and may include hints of dark academia, fairy tale, or fantasy. Mafia romances are especially popular, delving into the gritty underworld of organized crime. Arranged marriages can be a winning trope. What attracts readers' attention? Leah Lamb, 25, is a longtime romance reader, and adding books with a thrilling element keeps her engaged, and also giggling and kicking her feet. It's all about taking love to extremes. It's really so romantic. All the things that these men are willing to do for the women they're in love with, Land says. Forget flowers. The men of dark romances aim as grand gesture in The Fisher, a favorite of Land's. The male lead character proclaims, "I kept the hand of a man who touched your hair, Zephyr. What do you think I will do for the one you move on with?" But let's go back to the someone you would pepper spray in real life point. This is where the dark romance genre catches the most flack. Isn't romance supposed to be something you dream about? Who dreams about a stalker? It's a crucial misunderstanding of the genre, Weaver says. How dark is too dark? Dark romance novels often include a list of trigger warnings at the start of the book. This is because dark romance also dabbles in some topics, namely abuse and sexual assault, that are disturbing for some readers. But for some, dark romances can get too dark. Since she got into the dark romance genre, Land has been on the hunt for what she calls respectful dark romance MMCs, male characters. She knows some readers might not mind misogyny in their heroes, but it makes her uncomfortable. She's had some trouble finding dark romance books that prioritize consent and respect toward women. When she posts videos about this mission, sometimes the comments spiral out of control. Quote, a lot of people will comment on my videos like, oh my God, you don't even like dark romance. Why are you critiquing it? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I like dark romance. I just like certain dark romances, unquote, Land says. Books. August releases include Dogs, Dragons, Witches, and Toads by Eric Peterson and Sarah Batcha. Few things boast a sleeker summer look than a slim 200-page novel, and while not all of the offerings here are that brief, several are, and you have to imagine this trend might have to do with the desire to tell a compelling story with an economy of words, or it might be because it's a little easier to hold a short book aloft with one hand as you recline, sipping a cool fruity beverage on the other. Maybe that's just us. In any case, here are 17 new books coming from some favorite authors, as well as debut writers who can pick up your local independent bookstore on the airport as you make your way out of town to some end of summer getaway. The Amateur by Chris Bohjalian. Set in the 1970s, the latest novel by the author of multiple bestsellers, including The Flight Attendant, deals with the repercussions of a freak accident in which a teen golf prodigy accidentally kills a caddy with an errant ball, and a deluge of secrets comes pouring forth. The Ego Trip, Psychedelic Toads, A Trail of Deaths, and the Guru Who Peddled Transcendence by Kimon de Grief. In a book praised by Patrick Radden Keefe, journalist de Grief explores a true crime story that involves claims of secret rituals, a psychedelic god molecule, and the growth of so-called toad medicine, and its effects on those who are drawn into its world. Meet Me in the Garden by Nina LaCure. From the 2017 Prince Award winner comes a historical fiction about a Creole family in 1940s New Orleans and LA, inspired by LaCour's own family in the Great Migration. Exhumed, Unearthing the History of the American Vampire by Aaron Mahnke from Running Press. Sometimes history can be quite grim, or grim, Grimm, and no one knows that better than Lore, podcaster Mahnke. Here he explores the real case of Mercy Brown and the Great New England Vampire Panic in the 1990s. The Blue Flame by George Pelecanos. One of the best crime writers working on any medium, the prolific novelist and screenwriter of The Wire, The Deuce, and Treem, brings his Washington, D.C. private investigator Derek Strange back for a new case involving drugs, greed, and revenge. Killing Sadie by Rachel Peterson. In this debut novel from a new name in young adult thrillers, a party turns deadly and is recounted by unreliable narrators, the teens who witnessed the murder. Triage by Claudia Rankine. In this new book, Rankine, who won the National Book Critics Circle Award for Poetry in 2015 for Citizen American Lyric, returns with a personal narrative sparked by attending the lecture of a once close college friend that reevaluates those early days and what's happened since. Dragon House War Wizard by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Random House. The first book in the Dragonlance Chronicles, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, inspired by the Dungeons & Dragons game, was published more than 40 years ago. The latest from the original authors, Weiss and Hickman, kicks off a prequel trilogy, making it perfect for newbies and veteran fantasy readers alike. Etna by Paul Yoon Scribner. In the latest from this acclaimed novelist, a working canine that has served alongside soldiers in a bloody war takes off in search of a home that may not exist. Think the Odyssey, but with the dog instead of Matt Damon. The Witches of Cambridge by Alice Hoffman, Scribner. Who's ready for a new series by the author of Practical Magic from All of Us, set at Radcliffe College during the 1950s. The novel weaves together a story that includes McCarthyism, secret societies, witches, and witch hunts. A Tender Age by Chan-Ri Lee. The award-winning author returns with a coming-of-age story about a Korean-American preteen, the child of immigrant parents, and the events that unravel during a summer at a church camp. Freight by Ryan Lowell Mulhan. Author Lowell spent more than a decade in the trucking business, and his fast-paced debut novel involves a semi-truck full of drugs and a cast of characters trying to get their hands on it. Sunrise by Tia Orbit. The latest from the author of The Tiger's Wife brings three strangers' stories together who become connected by the ghost town of Sunrise and the secret it holds between 1902 and 2024. Reliquary by Hannah Ritten from Run For It. Known for her fantasy writing, Ritten dips into atmospheric horror with Reliquary, which follows a grieving woman who realizes her late fiancé's family is keeping dark secrets. The Maltese Version by Katie Simpson Smith. Realizing she might be pregnant, Liani enlists her friend, a travel writer, to track down the irate father, Max, who dropped off the map and stopped answering her messages sometime after reaching the Mediterranean island of Malta. Makeshift by Peter Rock. Set on a small island off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, the novel tells the story of three sisters who believe they're the last humans on Earth. The Devil Knows Her Name by C.N. Vare. A new name in the game takes a stab at Appalachian horror. With her debut novel, Vare asks what happens when you're willing to make a deal with the devil, not once but twice. Taste. Restaurant notes. La Fleur Bakery, especially on a clear summer day, is a nice place to visit. Stare at the glass cases of powdered sugar-covered guava pastries and donuts, coconut pudding and creamy trelec cakes. Sit back in an office chair while you wait for your cheesy sausage sandwich to be pressed and watch the trees sway against the blue sky through tall windows. A full breeze tickles your face from a fan. It's a few minutes of vacation. Then your to-go order is ready and you have to leave. It's not quite a restaurant, at least not the kind where you can linger, even during the few months of the year when the patio expands the seating to a few tables and chairs. Owner Enrique Sexto wants to have this kind of restaurant where you can linger. The Puerto Rican choices for food beyond takeout are slim, and the West Side has a large Hispanic population that craves a place to drink frozen cocktails and eat traditional Puerto Rican, a place to mingle, stay a while, and contemplate dessert, a restaurant. We hang out in our house backyards when we don't have stuff like this, said LaFleur, General Manager Pedro De Jesus. Get together in the house cookout, and that's where we'll all started from. Sexto, who has spent the last 14 years growing Niagara Street's La Fleur Bakery into a local institution, is very close to realizing that dream. In late July, La Fleur opened half of its new restaurant, La Fleur Bar and Restaurant, a few blocks north of the bakery at 987 Niagara Street, right across from the Terminal Station B's Niagara Street mural. But it's also a takeout spot for now, while Sexto waits for a liquor license. The building is divided into two restaurant spaces, the casual takeout spot that is currently open, and a larger dining room with a bar and patio that Sexto will open as soon as he can. Visit now for the taste of what's to come. Salsa music plays from a television. The menu changes daily and is different from the bakery. The bakery is known for its crispy, melty meat and cheese packed sandwiches, chifritos, which is Puerto Rican fried finger foods like pastillos and acapulco fritters, and flaky guava pastries. Traditional Puerto Rican entrees such as carne frita, fried cubes of pork and pork fat, and pernil, seasoned slow-roasted pork with rice, are also popular. The restaurant leaves the sweets and the sandwiching to the bakery. Sexto is expanding into heartier Puerto Rican fare, still using the family recipes he got from his aunt. You'll still find a warm case full of fresh rice, pork, chicken, and beans, but you can also order more involved, made-to-order dishes. Sexto splits the cooking duties with his longtime chef, Naisha Acevedo. Sexto focuses mostly on seafood. The fried red snapper, Chilo Frito, is Sexto's magnum opus. Get it the way he recommends, fried whole. Yes, its beautiful face and teeny scales are looking up at you while you eat. Bless them. Curving around an oval plate next to a wooden pylon mortar and pesto dish, homemade by Sexto's uncle in Puerto Rico. Fried and mashed plankton mofongo fill the pylon. Bright seafood salad, a cool mix of small shrimps, crab flakes, tentacle chunks of octopus, tomatoes, and peppers. Top the mofongo and fill out the rest of the plate. Dip the fried fish with its crunchy skin and moist fillets into a humble plastic container of mayo ketchup. It's $37 and can feed 2 people. Under the mojito's debut, order a glass of thick parka, fresh passion fruit juice for $4, which is like drinking sunshine, or a can of India Cola champagne, a Puerto Rican pop that tastes like cream soda. La Fleur is riding a wave of development momentum for Niagara Street. The new Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute is nearing a completion a few blocks away from La Fleur Bakery. Its plans call for an art gallery, museum, cafe, theater, event hall, and kitchen. Jesus, Sexton's nephew, who was born in Puerto Rico and lived most of his life in Buffalo, thinks the restaurant shows the community that you've got something better for them. At a time when fast, casual, takeout-only restaurants have been surging with their attractive low overhead costs and DoorDash-friendly business models, La Fleur's restaurant is stepping in an old, tried-and-true, more social direction, where you can come, enjoy, sit down, relax, enjoy some drinks, have good conversation. You're not getting food that you're just coming in and out for, DeJus says. Now you're talking. Now the owner can talk to you. The managers can talk to you. You're talking to the workers. More communication about what we're doing, how we're building as a community. La Fleur Bar and Restaurant is open from 11 to 10 Monday through Saturday, 11 to 9 Sunday at 987 Niagara Street. Taste. Zucchini with zing. Chili Crisp takes this side dish to another flavor dimension. By Kristen Gallery. I reach for the jar of Chili Crisp in the refrigerator, and whenever I want to perk up a dumpling sauce, noodle bowl, or plain rice, but Chili Crisp can be used for cooking too. Toss it with crispy tofu, make it into a dip for saltine crackers, or even fry eggs in it. You honestly can't go wrong. All the crispy aromatic bits in the spicy savory oil make it a flavor powerhouse, and I like taking advantage of that when I need to perk up zucchini. On its own, zucchini is pretty bland, but I sear it, and I toss it with a quick pantry sauce that has a base of Chili Crisp that I can eat the whole pan in one sitting. Don't forget this recipe when your bumper crop of summer zucchini comes in and you're tired of making zucchini bread. Ingredients: 2 tablespoons store-bought or homemade Chili Crisp, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, 2 teaspoons of soy sauce or tamari, 1/2 teaspoon of granulated sugar, optional, 1 tablespoon of neutral oil such as canola or vegetable, 2 medium zucchini, about 1 pound total, cut crosswise into 1/2 inch thick rounds, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Directions: stir the Chili Crisp, the rice vinegar, soy sauce, and sugar if using together in a small bowl. Heat oil in a large 12-inch cast iron or stainless steel skillet over medium-high heat until shimmering. Meanwhile, toss sliced zucchini and salt together in a medium bowl until seasoned all over. Working in batches if needed, arrange the zucchini in the skillet in a single layer. Cook until golden brown on the bottom. Reduce the heat to medium. Use a thin spatula or tongs to flip the zucchini. Cook until crisp and tender and browned on the other side, 3 to 4 minutes. Turn off the heat. Return all the zucchini to the skillet if needed. Drizzle the Chili Crisp mixture over the zucchini. It will sizzle, and toss until the zucchini is well coated, and serve. Refrigerate leftovers in an airtight container for up to 4 days. Taste. Time for tinga. Pile of Tostados high with smoky, spicy chicken you can whip up in minutes. By Robin Miller. What is tinga? Also known as tinga de palo. Chicken tinga is a classic Mexican meal that originates from the state of Pueblo. The dish consists of a shredded meat, usually chicken, that's simmered in a savory sauce of chipotle chilies and adobe onions, garlic, and seasoning. The juicy, moderately spiced meat is frequently served on tostado shells, but also is enjoyed as a filling for hard and soft tacos, burritos, lettuce wraps, or as a spicy addition to melty quesadillas. Chicken tinga makes an excellent addition to a taco salad bowls. In this recipe, ultra-tender chicken scented with aromatics and warming spices is simmered in a deeply rich chipotle chili spike sauce. The buttery, soft, delicious, spicy chicken is served piled onto crisp tostito shells, ready in minutes. Chicken tinga tostitos are the ideal dish to switch up to tacos. For recipes, see the online version. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 9th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding